Hey guys, this is ECWFan and welcome to the latest comic book finds volume. Now, the last couple videos you saw was us at the Pence Springs flea market on a ECWFan vlog. And in the second part you see me say, hey, we're going to go ahead and show our stuff off there. All our games and movies and comics. And we all each picked up a good bit of stuff from this flea market. It's just that we started thinking about it. The place was crowded. I mean, it was really hot and crowded. It would have took so much time just sitting there showing all this stuff off. And we decided, we'll just do it. We don't really need to do that here. It's just too loud. And so we didn't do it. We went on and we went up to another thrift shop and Goodwill and just let it go. But I decided, instead of showing movies off like I normally do, I've showed them off a couple times already. We'll go ahead and do a latest comic book finds volume and show off the comics and trade paperbacks that I picked up at the flea market and Goodwill. And I'll go ahead and show off the trade paperbacks first that I picked up at the Goodwill with Eddie. And at our local Goodwill, they wheeled out some trade paperbacks. And me and Eddie looked at them, and it was like $2 a piece once we split it up, but it was all in a pack. And Eddie's like, I want this one, and he said, would you go partners with me? And I really wanted one in there. I was like, could they separate them, because I really don't want the Justice League stuff, because and the woman said, no, it's got to be all bought together and we'll split it up for you two. So we went up ahead, and I told Eddie, I said, you can have that Brad Meltzer Justice League, because it sucks. I didn't like his run with Ed Beans. The art by Ed Beans was great. It's just the whole arc I didn't like. And so I picked up Justice League Trinity War trade paperback. And the art in this is perfect. Ivan Reyes. It's got Doug Mackey and, lots of good art. The only problem is that this new 52 arc really didn't do that good. It was basically this surprise around this new character. I can't think of her name. Pandora. Yeah. Now Pandora was, when she first debuted back in that, new 52, the first, the last Flashpoint issue, you're thinking she's a big major character. Well, DC themselves kind of crippled that. They changed things in that new 52 where she was a character that unleashed the 7 deadly sins of man, and just didn't really work good. And the Trinity sin, just didn't work. The Trinity War, and I didn't have Justice League Dark and all those other tie-in issues, so I'll reread it. Now, the one trade paperback I really wanted was Realm of Kings. And Realm of Kings is one of those ones I really wanted. And I've heard this work by Jason Aaron was really good. So I went ahead and got this one. This got the Inhumans, and I think Thor's in it. So this is kind of cool. The art looks beautiful. I mean, the art, the story. So I'm kind of excited for this one. So I can't wait to read it. Now that's the trade paperbacks. Now, comics-wise, I picked up a last issue, which is one of the keys I wanted. And it's from a series that I really am starting to collect. And Eddie gave me a lot of his issues because he really didn't want it. And I'm kind of happy he did that. And it's from Now Comics, but I'm going to save that for last. But comic book-wise, I picked up some of these Gold Key. And Gold Key is annoying for the fact that they don't have their issue numbers outside. You have to open the books up, look inside, and look down. So I'm gonna remember these issue numbers when I looked at them. And these books are in pretty decent shape for being 15 to 40 cent books. Okay, here's Tarzan. This is number 188 or 189. I believe it's 189. Tarzan. And I thought this was kind of cool. Tarzan is parachuting in. He is parachuting in. Who knew Tarzan had a parachute? And this is one that I really love, this cover. I mean, this is an old style cover. Tarzan fighting an army. And this is issue 185. Gold Key had Tarzan's license at one time. And they had it for a good while. and then they lost it to DC in the like early 1970s for I think close to a decade. Now, Twilight Zone is one that Gold Key had, and the Gold Key had this one for a while, close to I think 2 decades. And this is issue 83, I believe. And this one is a nice one. I love that big issue number there. They were playing hide and seek forever. That was really cool. I like that. And finally, I picked up Dark Shadows, and this is the 9th issue. I was really kind of hoping this would be like a second or third issue, because I've always seen the first issue cover, and that's got a photo cover. But this was kind of cool. Dark Shadows number 9. Now, one of these issues at the flea market, I had this character's first appearance and cameo, and it come back. I think it was way back in the early '80s from Pacific Comics, and I believe it's the name of the company. So, this character is Dave Stevens' Rocketeer, and this is the movie adaptation. I love that American flag cover. And this is a character that really could do a lot more if they ever decide, to get around and just use him at Disney. I know that I think they did an animated series, but I remember 1990 or 91 they did the movie, and they thought it was going to be really big because superheroes was kicking with Batman. He's like, oh my god, we got to prove every character, because as soon as after Batman you had Dick Tracy, and then it was like they was rushing these characters out to the movie theater. And the Rocketeer was one. He was different. He was cool. We got the jetpack. It's just, it never really took off. That's major. Now, this one had me excited for a brief moment. But then I realized it was a reprint. It is Legend of Zelda, number 4. And I looked it up. I was like, hey, this is the 4. Is this? At first I thought it was the second issue. So I got the second appearance of Zelda in comics. Well, not really. It's a reprint a year later from 1991. And this was the second issue in the series, but now it's number 4 in the reprint. And Valiant did the Nintendo books and the wrestling ones. Well, Valiant was a young company, and they really hit their home run when they got Solar and Magnus Robot fighting. So the Zelda, the Nintendo books faded into obscurity, and now they're hot. I mean, like, that first appearance of Mario is just insanely priced. I mean, it's just insane. And finally, I picked up the final issue, because I love final issues, and I didn't know it at the time, and I kind of thought it. It is Fright Night 22. This is a series that I'm actually, trying to collect the whole series, 22 issues, and I remember seeing that this issue was going to be a little bit hard to get. And it's from Now Comics. If anybody don't remember, Now Comics in the late 80s, early 90s had this thing where they basically picked up every license they could. They were, like IDW now would actually get these licenses from Fright Night, Ghostbusters, Twilight Zone, Speed Racer. There was a bunch that they did. Married with Children. And at first, these licenses really did huge. And Now was able to ride that wave. I mean, from the late 80s into the early 90s, they was doing great. But the licenses started to lose steam. And they couldn't keep those licenses forever. They slowly started losing their licenses one by one. And Now was not able to really do anything. Once the speculator market busted, Now pretty much went into free fall, and they just didn't have no creator-owned books that could really drive the company. And IDW is discovering that now. IDW, which licensed a ton of books, they're learning that now. Unless you have creator-owned properties that could really drive sales and keep people reading, you're not going to make it. And licensed books work a while, but your licensee can pull books. Like Marvel right now is getting that with Conan. And Marvel really revitalized Conan. They put, Conan in the Avengers, and did all this stuff, and that property guy is pulling the license from Conan to do their own books. And I don't know how well it's going to work with the current market. It's not the same like it was back in the day, and it's a harder market now. So we'll see. But Marvel learned that lesson, and now it's a tough deal. And Dark Horse did Star Wars and Conan, and they basically, Dark Horse should get the credit for all those years of books they put out. And they really kept Star Wars around for years with those books. And once Marvel got Star Wars, the license was coming back. You knew it was going to happen, and it did happen. But Fright Night, good series based on the '85 movie. It's worth a pickup. It's 22 issues. I've got a majority of the series from Eddie, and I'm trying to get all those issues. I got to go through Stash and check what I need, and maybe at the con, because these issues, for the most part, are mostly cheap, except the first and final issue, so I should be able to get them all. And that's my haul. That's it. Hope you enjoyed this latest comic book finds volume. I haven't shot one in a while, and until next time, keep on reading.